Good.
They had mentioned that there's a focus for the players specifically, but also kind of on the smaller details to be successful. On the coaching staff, Stefan seems to be a very detail-oriented person. How does that rub off on all of you guys as well?
But we think we have a good plan. We feel like that there's certain small things that we're going to have to do within the scheme to be successful. And Coach Satterfield does a great job of communicating that with the staff. Coach Leffler does a great job of reinforcing that as a coordinator, and then this goes on down the line with Coach Pons, Coach Brooks, myself, Coach McKenzie. So, just as those guys, were just talking about being on the same page, I mean, it's really the same staff. We've all got to be pulling in the right direction.
A lot of the guys talk so much about culture and trust Satterfield has. How does that kind of play into that sense as well?
I think where Coach Satterfield is really strong is he puts this feeling amongst everyone around him that you don't want to let him down. And so, because he's gonna treat you well, treat you like a man, but he has high expectations. And so I think that that culture, as we put forth, that culture, it kind of goes from the staff to the players to everyone within the program, and you just kind of have that. It's kind of that glue that everybody's just trying to. Last thing you want to do is be the person to let somebody down.
Each day we keep hearing from the players, but if you ranking them with card tape, muscle tape,
right.
juice board, how are you seeing them respond to those kinds of elements?
Well, I think we all want feedback. I think that it's important to have an idea of where you are in the process. I think everyone is like that, no matter what you're doing. And so, if you can give them an idea of where they stand and why they're there, we try to be straightforward with them and tell them exactly where they are on the depth chart and this is why and this is the role that you're going to play. One thing we talk about from day one is the quicker everyone finds a role in this team, and then as Coach Satterfield says, the other part is accepting that role. Finding that role, but then accepting that role, and we're going to gel, faster and faster, and that's just going to help us in the season. So, that's really all those things kind of tie into defining roles, and this is what you're going to be counted on to do.
When do you start?
One thing to come in as a new coach and be teaching technique and what you want to do. Is it more challenging when you got a bunch of guys who have never really even played this position before?
I think where one of our strengths is we can evaluate football players and where they can fit within our system, be it offense or defense or special teams. So we find guys within the roster like Tobias Little, for example, who's been a running back and is a good running back. But he's a heavier guy. He's a strong guy. He's got a nice center of gravity, so he can get leverage on guys and move guys, and so he would be a guy that could play the H, and that so we made that move and put him at H. And a guy like Isaac Martin, when we got here, was quite a bit heavier than he is now, and so kind of from day one saying, hey, this is where we see you fitting, but this is where you've got to be weight wise, and this is what we need you to do numbers wise. But I think Coach Mike and his staff do an outstanding job. All these guys kind of talk about the off season, and the off season is big for us. And so those roles are kind of starting to get defined even way back, back in March, coming out of spring ball.
At what point here in fall camp do you start kind of figuring out, all right, these are my ones, these are my twos? Some positions seem settled, some seem pretty wide open.
Yeah, I think that in our room, we're going to play several guys, and so we kind of package guys together. Who kind of plays well with each other, who complements each other. I would say, I think we had day 10 today, maybe 11, somewhere like that. I'd say probably after 6, 7, we were pretty, had at least a starting point, where we wanted to be. And then within that, say you got a guy that's down the line a little bit, well then you got to let him know, hey, this is how you climb, this is what you need to do. And this is where we see you complement the offense, and so we'll keep working that way.
How distinct are those positions, Y and H? Like, is there any kind of overlap there where guys can do one or the other?
They can play both. I think the biggest difference, if you're on the ball, if you line up as a traditional tight end on the ball, you're going to need some length. And some of the H-backs that we have are not long guys, not necessarily height, but just arm length and that type of stuff. So I would say that'd be the biggest difference. The Y's can play in the backfield most of the time. The H's can play, they can play on and off, but typically that'd be the only spot where I'd say when you put them on the ball, and particularly at point of attack, they're going to need to separate a little bit from those D ends.
On special teams, Coach Satterfield's talked highly, obviously, about Blanton and in the punting game, but obviously there's more than that. What's your impression on as far as coverage and blocking on special teams?
Well, we're installing our schemes right now and trying to figure out. It's kind of the same thing. What we just talked about with tight end, finding guys that complement each other. Now you're trying to find 11 guys that complement each other. I do feel like we can run. We got some guys that can cover some ground. So now it's just kind of getting some the techniques down, getting them to understand what we're trying to accomplish in space, and much like our offense, getting those techniques in so we can play fast. But I feel like we have some guys that can do some pretty dynamic stuff.
Is it possible that you might see some first teamers on those squads?
We play our best. We try to limit. If there's certain positions that aren't as deep, then we'll limit there. Coach Satterfield believes that we're going to put our best guys on the field if they can help us win. And but we're smart about it. We're not going to just throw a guy there and have him play all 4 special teams and then also play 70 snaps of defense or offense. I think it goes back to kind of finding your role. A lot of times when coach is talking about finding your role and accepting your role, kicking game comes into effect there for sure. Marshawn, it's kind of funny when he was talking. He was telling me what he does on offense. He's like, I'll make a tackle. Well, he's talking about special teams, so it's good to hear him say that.
On the field, practicing.
Sure. Speaking of Marshawn, how have you seen him grow, especially after the competent scholarship in the spring? How have you seen him grow?
He's kind of a utility player, kind of. I think Coach Leffert called him a Swiss Army knife. He's kind of got a little bit of everything in his package. He's agile. He can change direction really well, but he has strength. He can hold up in the pass pro. He catches the ball well. He blocks well. He's a young guy. He's still got a lot of things to improve on. But I like that he comes to work every day. It's important to him. I think it kind of goes back. He was talking about being from Louisville, and it means a lot to play here. So that's important to us. You find those guys that in your program that kind of fringe guys, but then if there's a deep passion to be in the program, then typically they're going to develop just a little bit more than maybe some other guys.
On the practice field, the setup doesn't seem to talk a lot. Doesn't seem like micromanage kind of position.
Right.
How much does that go? I guess how much does that make you guys feel? Trust, understanding.
He instills a lot of trust, and I think also, we all enjoy working for him. I think that again, it kind of cultivates this feeling of he's the last guy you want to let down. He's treating you well. He's listening. He'll listen to you. He has strong opinions on things that he wants to do, and we certainly respect that to the utmost. And so you certainly appreciate when he's treating you the right way, treats the players the right way, and kind of just like I said, it's kind of that glue that kind of keeps it all together.
Has he always been kind of that quiet, observant type of person?
I think that he's maybe a little more reserved around you guys. And we meet and watch film and talk as a staff. He's not so reserved. But he does a good job behind you.
PJ and Clayton mentioned the increase in accountability several times at the luncheon the other day. What's that look like under Scott Satterfield? What do you guys go with?
Accountability?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I told my guys yesterday. So, we need to do some housekeeping. We need to make sure we keep the locker room together and keep it where it needs to be. And Coach mentioned that to the team. And I told my guys, I said, listen, I walked through there. It's not where it needs to be. I'm just telling you, it's going to come back around, and he's not going to be a guy that he's not going to stand up there and yell and scream at him and tell him and make them do something. We want a player-led team. We want guys that take ownership in the team, and those type teams will accomplish more. And so, he's going to put the expectation in front of them. We're going to keep them accountable if they don't meet the expectation. Eventually, they're going to take off. And it's going to be their team, and we're going to. Coach is going to guide them, and we're going to help. And that's the goal.
Question about at special teams. Scott mentioned it at luncheon. He's trying to get Mason's punt to hang a little bit longer. How have you seen him for I guess?
Mason's done well. Mason is you know, if he keeps it short and compact, you know, it's tough for a long guy. You know, he's a tall guy. He's an aggressive guy. So punting the ball sometimes is not an aggressive movement. You know, you want to be quick but smooth, and he's, you know, that is what leads to consistency. So he's working every day, and every day's a little bit better than the day before. And, but we're pleased with where he is.
Jordan kind of mentioned that the strength of the tight end group was playmaking. Who do you think?
And I hope so. Man, I hope he's right.
Who kind of stands out on that front to you?
Well, he does. I mean, he's a tough matchup. You know, the guy is tall and he can run. He's got strength. You know, he's really, I don't know if you've been around. I mean, he changed his body this offseason. I mean, I'm really proud of his buy-in this offseason and what he's done physically. So he's one for sure. Marshawn can make plays. You know, Isaac Martin can make plays out here. You know, we got several guys. I think Tobias Little can make plays. And we're, you know, one thing about Coach is he's not necessarily going to pick and choose one of those guys. He's going to give them an opportunity and hope they take advantage of it.
Good. All right.